Jack Tenney of Joog Squad taking direct aim at DramaAlert and Keemstar's biases, as they claim. Of course, Jack is Tifu's brother, and we're going to be going over his video that he just dropped. Yo, DramaAlert just got content. Cop, stick around. We're going over it. What's going on, everybody? This is breaking news. Tommy C here. Shot from the point news. Jack Tenney went in on Keemstar, big time. And some of the stuff is things you heard before, but this is really aimed at DramaAlert omitting stuff. That's really what this is all about. They're omitting stuff about the contract, which we knew. And the esports community seems to be covering this evenly. And if you've been a Shot from the Point fan for any amount of time, you know when it comes to FaZe Banks and FaZe Clan, he omits stuff. He leaves it out for the benefit of the group, and I'm sure that's really frustrating when you're the biggest news platform. Get me more subs. I'll change that, Jack Tenney. I'll do that. And I'm sure it's really frustrating them because there's a two-front war. There's a court battle. Actually, three. There's the labor board, there's the court, and there's the social media aspect, and all kind of got a line for Tifu to come out of this okay. Of course, the major thing is Keem's bias. That's a big first part of the video. But where it goes from there is, and we checked with our own legal expert, Leor Lesser, and he said that the contract was binding. I don't know if he knows the argument, and I don't know if he knew the argument at the time when we had him on our show, that their legal team is claiming because FaZe Clan is not a licensed talent agency in the state of California, they can't even offer a contract. They can't even bring it. It's anything's null and void coming from, much less 80-20. Now, I'm going to bring that information to Leor Lesser, and I'm going to have him hit me back, and I'll let you know as this story's going to be going on all summer, and maybe even for the next year or two. So let's listen to Jack when he talks about as far as things like contracts go.
Benefit of the doubt and assume that they were operating legally. I mean, they're the biggest esports organization in the world. He was not wrong to assume that the contract probably wasn't that bad. And if their contracts were that bad, we probably would have heard about it by now.
You know, I do want to point this out. When this story broke, I was being constantly told that these are normal, these 80-20 when it comes to esports contracts, this is the normal thing. And I think what happened is, at least what Tifu's lawyers believe, they found a way out of it. And the reason they found a way out of it, and I think that's what Jack's arguing, is because the contract wasn't legal because they're not a talent agency. They're not licensed in the state of California. And from what all legal experts I see, this argument that things were done in New York, well, most of FaZe's business takes place in California. So it's going to go to the California Labor Board or California judge. And they're basically saying, you signed me to an illegal contract. Not so much the contract was done in a certain way. It's just that you aren't licensed to give one to begin with. Let's let Jack go on.
But who's going to stand up to the biggest esports organization in the world? Nobody. That's terrifying. Look at how Banks and Keem have twisted this to make Turner out to be the bad guy. As if they were surprised and blindsided by this. You guys made your bed when you allowed my brother to sign this terrible contract in the first place. Banks, if you want to play the innocent card, that's fine, but if you're a part owner in this company and you don't know what contracts say that are signing people onto your organization, that is your fault.
And of course he's right. FaZe Banks is responsible. He's one of the top guys over there. And I also want to point out that initially in Keemstar's first interview with FaZe Banks, he said this is a normal get you in the door contract. It's normal. It's normal. And they're claiming you weren't even licensed to give it in the first place because it violates California law. So, and later on, when the public roundly rejected this idea of 80-20 contracts, again, look, if you're like just getting in the door in Hollywood and you're nobody and you have no clout whatsoever, it's 20% at the most. So once you've seen Banks defend the contract, and then we've seen him pull as Jack says, the innocent card, saying, "Hey, some people were running my company at that time, and it's not. It was kind of messed up, and they're gone now." Well, no, it really doesn't matter, and it's tough to buy when he said on DramaAlert that these 80-20 things are that's what you have to do when you get into business. But he goes on.
Not Turner's. One reason in my mind why we haven't heard about how terrible these contracts are in the first place is because they involve a section that says if FaZe decides to fire one of their players or when the contract terms are over, they can prevent you from playing video games publicly for 6 months. No YouTube videos, No Twitch streams, nothing for 6 months. What do you have to say about that, unbiased Keemstar?
Wait, didn't Banks say he was Turner's homie and family? I don't know about you, but I wouldn't.
This is the worst part of the video. This is unbiased Keemstar, and it's an absolute cringe fest. It's designed to be a little entertaining. Something tells me Jack here is better at doing extreme sports and catching waves or whatever, but this is not his forte. But I wouldn't say the video is ineffective. The video does seem to be really effective, because the one thing that Keem had been saying that, you know, did FaZe do anything illegal? Prove it. I'll give you $10K. Well, if they're right, and remember, it's their side, the contract's null and void. We're going to find out whether from the labor board or the courts. Probably the labor board, because the labor board tends not to rule, according to our experts, in the manager's favor, which would be FaZe in this case. But this is total cringe. I mean, watch this.
Never let my friend or family sign or be in that contract. It is complete dog shit. Does the contract really say that they can take 80% and keep him from gaming for 6 months?
All right, I can't take this. This is making me utterly insane. Okay, this is a part of the video when he talks about, you know, there's been a lot of talk about Turner being offered new contracts, but he refused to sign, which, you know, I've argued and shot from the point, why would you re-sign with somebody after you made him a ton of money and they try to rip you off to start with an 80-20 contract? But Jack explains a lot better than I could. And I think this is the most effective part of the video, and other than unbiased Keemstar, he's great.
Now for the negotiation between Tfue and FaZe Clan. FaZe did in fact offer Turner several contracts after he voiced his concern of the original one. However, Turner did not and would not re-sign a contract that's once again illegal in the state of California. Instead, Turner's lawyer offered FaZe a new contract in March of 2019 through a licensed talent agency that would be the only legally abiding contract in the history of their relationship. Just to be clear, the only legally abiding contract in the history of their relationship was presented to FaZe by Turner's team. They not only rejected it, but they revised it and they changed it so much to where it was completely unrecognizable and once again illegal. Bottom line here is they...
So what he's saying is they brought in a group that's a legitimate talent agency. I'm pretty sure FaZe was getting around California law. I'm pretty sure. How could they not know you'd have to be licensed in the entertainment capital? I mean, it's possible. But how could you know the entertainment capital of the world, and you're a talent agency, and you don't know you need to be licensed? So they go on. I guess they subcontract a legitimate talent agency, and Jack claims that they revised it to such a point that it was unrecognizable. That's not shocking. For you know that it's not if what FaZe is. What Jack is saying they are 80-20, 50-50 parts of the contract. It's really not hard to make the next leap. It's really not difficult at all.
Didn't give him a choice. The renegotiations went nowhere. They didn't allow him to do what he wanted to do, and even though they offered him a revised contract with none of the splits and none of the crazy percentages, it was null and void contract from day one. As someone who's watched Turner closer than anyone go from nothing to superstardom, he should be allowed to make his own decisions. He deserves that because he works harder than anyone else out there to get to where he is. And that's why he's the best, because he's more dedicated than anyone else.
No matter how much I got,
he's dedicated to get out of his contract.
Now I would like to bring up the fact that FaZe claims to have only made $60,000 off of Turner.
This I knew was utter BS, but let's just go over it quickly.
Anyone with a brain knows that this is the biggest lie of them all. Their social media, Instagram, YouTube, completely skyrocketed after Turner's popularity after joining FaZe. All the videos and original content of Turner's that they use, all the FaZe members
it was a give and take relationship for sure. Everybody benefited.
Using Turner's name. Turner made FaZe so much money, it's disgusting that they would ever try to say that they only ever made $60,000 off him. From the champion line to YouTube to brands and...
if I had to correct Jack here, they said they took only $60,000. So what Banks is trying to say is, like, we didn't enforce the contract as it was. So you should be happy. Now, I got to be honest with you. I don't know if I trust Banks or the FaZe clan, but basically what he's saying is they made millions off of him. I'm absolutely sure that's true. As he really, in the public's mind, there was a point in time where, Tifu's a lot better than Ninja. It became like the hardcore Fortnite players believe in that, and then it just spread to basically becoming mainstream that Turner's the better player. Tifu is the guy. Tifu's better than Ninja. Ninja may have built it, but Tifu is the best player in the world. I think that's changed since. But that's going to build an org like FaZe, who had a lot of aging stars that weren't competitive, that weren't really in the esports scene. They were making vlogs and stuff like that. Nothing wrong with that, by the way. I always think that's a good thing to keep it going after. You can't really play video games at the highest level for a very long period of time, especially shooters. It's completely ridiculous to come to the conclusion that, we only took 60,000. Well, you're supposed to take the 80, and I don't know when you're going to come collect it. I don't know if this was an illegal contract, but it stinks to high heaven. And I think the public believes that. I think they're starting to catch on. That time with Keemstar, anyway, at least from my perspective.
Sponsors, they used Turner's name to sell it all and made more money than you could ever imagine because Turner was a part of their team. There is no arguing that. Turner helped FaZe Clan substantially to be where they are right now and to get the deals that they've gotten right now. If you know social media at all, this is painfully obvious.
All right, just to end the video and to finish off the cringe from unbiased Keemstar, they throw a challenge at Keemstar, which is kind of amusing and will never happen, but I don't know. I find this shit cringy as well.
With all of that being said, we'd like to conclude this video with a challenge to Keemstar. You might think that the challenge is to be more journalistic, honest, and fair, but no. I want to fight you. Biased Keemstar versus unbiased Keemstar. Winner takes DramaAlert. The ball's in your court.
That's never going to happen. What are those guys, like extreme athletes jumping off of bridges, doing backflips, surfing and shit? Keemstar's fat like me, and he surfs the internet all day looking for stories to destroy people. like Jack said earlier in the video. That's simply never going to happen. But it is going to be kind of funny because, he's got a Napoleon complex. So that will be kind of interesting. I don't know. I don't think Keem's ready to get in the ring with athletes, considering the only boxing challenge he ever made was to Wings of Redemption. But to wrap it up, here it is. Jack claims Keem's bias. Come to that to your own conclusion. He says the contracts are null and void to begin with because FaZe isn't a licensed talent agency. He says that the $60,000 thing is absolutely and utterly ridiculous because he's made millions, and it is true that they only took 60,000. What is true, they only took 60,000. Of course, he made FaZe grow as FaZe made Tifu grow, because it's definitely a two-way relationship. Do I know for a fact that the contract's null and void? I don't know. I'm going to check my sources, and I'm going to get back to you. Follow the news team right here on Twitter. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed it. Good night.
Found $1 in the woods. I was in the woods. Found $1. Should I give your mom a motherfucking holler? Found $1 in the woods. And I'm feeling so goddamn good. Found $1 in the woods. And I'm feeling so goddamn good.